the law so that they can seize my passport, so that they can send me to detention. They'll say, "Oh, Mr. Sowore, we can't grant you bail today. We need more quotation from the Constitution so that we can understand whether you deserve bail or not." So, as an individual, I am a bundle of experience in Nigeria's exercise of injustice. So nobody can teach me about bad judges, and that is why it will be easier for people like me to fight them. Nobody can teach me about bad policemen. You see my nose? It's police that broke it. At the time they shot me with a riot gun, this tear gas gun in my thigh. I know all of it. They frame me all the time. As I'm speaking to you, I'm in Abuja because I said the IG should retire. And then he took me to court, got a judge to seize my passport. I can't leave Nigeria. But, I tell them, woe betide you. As long, wherever I am, whether I'm in Nigeria, I'm in the US, UK, I'm in my village, I'm underwater, I'm in the air, I'll keep fighting you. Anywhere the opportunity presents itself. So if you like, seize my passport as long as I wasn't born with a passport. I was born as a human being, and I must keep operating without any fear or favor of these very tiny oppressors. And I know in another 2 years, some of these people that see themselves, if you see them, you pity them. I'm sure most of you have seen your area commander before, who used to be the big man. Now they are not paying his pension. The fight I did against the police in the last 2-3 weeks that we did, all of us, has gotten more police promoted in the history of police promotion in Nigeria than ever, because we were able to remove all the bad eggs who have forged their service records, who didn't allow the younger ones to be promoted. They are all getting promoted now. They are doing promotion exam every day in the police, but they are still going to beat me up if I call a protest tomorrow. Because that is the nature of oppression. The oppression in Nigeria has turned the victim against themselves, as opposed to the victims fighting against their victimizers or their oppressors. So an average policeman on the road hates you, who is victimized, who is oppressed yourself, than if you are stopped by the police on the road. It's simple. And one big man is coming. It doesn't even need to be a big man. It needs to be, even if it's a Yahoo guy, just put one policeman in front of his SUV. They will be saluting him while they can keep you for 4 hours just to collect 20 naira from you. They will be claiming that they are looking for your particulars, that you don't have fire extinguisher, even that you don't have extra tire. A policeman that doesn't have extra tire in their own car is asking you for extra tire. No safety that doesn't have extinguisher in his own car is asking, is penalizing you for not having. If you want to do them, when I've done it to them before, you know me. One day they stopped me like that. They didn't know I was the one. They said, "Oh, they see everything. They say, where's extinguisher? Let's take me to your car. If you can show me extinguisher in your car, fire extinguisher in your car." I said, "Take me to the station." They say, "They go. Your Allah is too much." Because they don't have fire extinguisher themselves. I even asked one policeman, "Do you have particulars? Do you know that every vehicle in Nigeria, whether it is security vehicle or not, must have particulars?"
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know that those policemen don't have particulars in their car? They don't. They don't even bother to go and register the vehicles. So they are the biggest lawbreakers. But not to divert your attentions, gentlemen and ladies, because I know a lot of people listen to these shows, even the ones that you don't see now, they'll come and watch it later. So it's everybody that is in on this. All we want is for this country to work. If any one of you read yesterday the top 10 countries in Africa that have the best per capita income, Nigeria is not there. Top 10, Nigeria is not there. You have like countries like Seychelles, you have Mauritius, you have South Africa there, all these other smaller countries that we used to give electricity. They are on that list. Nigeria is not on the list. So who on earth is going to convince me or is going to tell me that I don't know what Nigeria needs? I know what Nigeria needs. In fact, what Nigeria needs, I have told people, and when I say sometimes they say, maybe you are exaggerating. I can run Nigeria on laptop I have a laptop here. I could just be carrying this laptop. I don't even need presidential villa. I'll just carry my laptop and I'll be running Nigeria through Zoom. Oh yeah, minister, where are you now? So what are you doing? Don't you know? So that you don't waste money on driving around in convoys. It's not the convoys that get the job done. It is the intellect. It is commitment. It is vision that gets the job done. It is a mission that gets the job done. Not the number of vehicles following one stupid, foolish man who is stopping everybody on the highway on his way to go and attend a wedding of his friend or go and meet his girlfriend or, to attend the naming ceremony of one of the persons most 90% of what people in government do, ladies and gentlemen, have nothing to do with governance in Nigeria. You can quote me anywhere. Whether it is governor, senators, House of Rep members, all these House of Rep members, senators, they are contractors. There's no one of them that don't have companies that they use. So when they say they are doing what they call oversight, it's to extort contracts or money from federal ministries, departments, and agencies of government. We know all these things. So you're not talking to someone who is ignorant. Somebody also mentioned the oil producing region. Well, maybe some of you don't know, I was born and raised in the Niger Delta region of Nigeria. I was born, beside a lake. The lake from my village reaches up to Escravos and Focados. In fact, my mom used to go to all those areas to sell garri and all that with her mom. So I know the problems of Niger Delta region. But the problem of Niger Delta region is beyond just environmental remediation, which is something I would do. It's also to be looking at the future of energy. Because this energy future we are talking about is not going to rely on oil very soon. So if you are the Niger Delta still hoping that you will be doing militancy and collecting amnesty, when nobody is using oil anymore, you will become redundant. It's now to start transiting intentionally, the energy mix, so that we move away from fossil oil, which is destructive to the environment, to energy sources that are very self-regenerating, self-sufficient, like solar, windmills. Hydro is still the best any day. And we are blessed with water all over Nigeria. I did an interview today, which some of you probably must have come across. It was more on the religious side. And I said to them, Nigerians are the only people who dig borehole inside the Atlantic Ocean. How can you have a lake beside your house and you're going to be drilling borehole? All you just need is one, simple process of osmosis. They call it osmosis. It's called reverse osmosis, where you distill water and then it takes away all the dirt and then you drink it and you're fine. Instead of boring hole every day, everywhere. Nigeria is a burial ground. You must dig every night, for water. So this is as a result of the fact that we don't have public water system. So I'm trying to address the problem generally because I know that I have to run at the point. I have been promising to even have like a regular TikTok show where we talk about the problem. I could never really sit down because before I finish now, police would have come to carry me. DSS would have come to arrest me. Or somebody's always after me. So I never really have had time to sit down. But when we do, we'll be having even a show where we can be interacting and exchanging ideas over how we can bring that revolution that we're talking about. And I've said it before, the revolution can happen by ballot, which I always advise them. Let the revolution happen by the ballot. Let the people vote and let their leaders who they vote for become the leaders of the country. Or it can happen otherwise. They know the consequences. But what we must do now, beyond just answering the question of, I'm running for election, I can promise you I want to run for election. It's the easiest part. But what needs to be done is to start running them out of town before we run for election. I hope that point sticks. You cannot run for election under the circumstances that you have now, with the INEC they have, with the electoral system they have. They have perfected over time how to ensure that votes don't count anymore in Nigeria. We have to ensure that in asking for you to vote, that your vote will count. But for now, the race that we need to run is to run these guys out of town. Is to run them out of our lives so that they will not have the kind of influence that they have that destroyed everybody in the country. When you talk about youth, I want to talk briefly about youth. What do young people really need? The first thing young people need, above and beyond everything, is opportunity. And when you talk about opportunity, the opportunity is not only about being able to travel abroad. But there's nothing wrong with traveling abroad. Nobody is ever going to stop young people from traveling abroad because young people always love excitement. You understand? You can see Mr. Oligweze, if you see his cap, his hat, you know that he must have been a fun-loving young person. So when they were young, their parents cannot stop you. Your family, even if your father was, I've seen a lot of young people in Nigeria whose parents were rich, they wanted them to be big people. They said no. They abandoned their houses and they went on, they went on fun. They went to have fun. They went to explore the world. So young people are going to keep exploring the world. But we must offer them opportunity. Opportunity includes education. Opportunity includes giving them the chance to be employed. Either they are employed by themselves or you provide them employment. Opportunity includes providing the atmosphere for employment or for people to be creative. Look at the creativity sector that the government is not managing. Movies, music. Look at what Nigerian young people have done with it. But if we're able to add, for instance, sports to it, look at how much we can bring even from sports alone. And most of you know, I'm a sports enthusiast. I'm always like doing sports. I do long distance running. Even at the age of 54, most of you can't catch up with me. If we're going to do a 1 mile run, because I understand the power of sports. Apart from the fact that it helps you to improve your health, is a money spinner. But think about it. If the world produced the best swimmer from the Niger Delta region of Nigeria, is it a bad idea? If the world produces the best footballers from the southeastern part of Nigeria Delta, and Edo, is that a bad idea? If the world produces the best long distance runners from Borno instead of Boko Haram, is that a bad idea? If the world produces the best shot put people from Benue, is it a bad? All these opportunities are staring us in the face, and young people are willing to accept it. But look at it and move away from even physical, hard labor. Think about what technology is bringing to us and how Nigerian youths are very, very good at embracing technology. We're supposed to have technology hubs around this country right now, where people are learning how to code, where people are staying ahead of the curve in terms of how to use artificial intelligence. It wouldn't have been a bad idea if TikTok was a Nigerian invention.
Yeah.
Yes, because every day we wake up in this country, do you know how much Nigerians add to TikTok? There are over 50 million Nigerians on TikTok alone.
Yeah.
And each time you log in, they are getting paid. So imagine if that money was coming to us. If you invented TikTok, do you know the number of people you would have employed in Nigeria alone? Well, let's even assume we can't invent TikTok, but there's an opportunity to stay ahead of the curve with regards to artificial intelligence now. Go and learn it. Learn it. You're hearing from me. I've said this before. That is the next war, that's the next industrial revolution. And the difference between it and other industrial revolution is that you can learn it and own it. Anything you know about artificial intelligence, you can own. If you go and bring a vehicle processing factory to Nigeria, you can't bring the trust to Nigeria. It has to belong to somebody. So you have to pay them for it. So if you're listening to me, learn artificial intelligence. Learn. It should be part of our education by now. We should start from even primary school for people to learn about artificial intelligence because it is the next industrial revolution. And you know what? If you miss it, That's it. But you cannot get to that stage with this crop of leaders who are only interested in their stomachs or their esophagus. It's not going to happen. I am not exaggerating. And this is why you've seen that I've been very consistent over the years. The position I took when I was 21 years old, when you saw me behind Abiola, or when we were doing Babangida Must Go, somebody mentioned Babangida Must Go. Now, most people who are listening to you didn't know that period. We did it. That's the position I still stand on to today. It's the reason nobody can convince me to go for less. So those of you whose self-esteem have been battered or bastardized, who they told you cannot be anybody, and you want to infect me with it, no, it's not going to happen. You can't make me think less of myself because they have made you think you are not a human being. You can't be president. You are only good for local government chairman. You are only good for, a majority of you or of our young people are not even aspiring to be anybody, just to be special assistant to somebody. Sometimes they are special assistant to people they don't know and they have never met before. A special advisor to people who don't take advice. I don't belong in that category. And I want to apologize. It is not arrogance. It's just self-confidence. I don't want to. I've lived my life, suffering in this country, and most of you are suffering. I don't want to suffer anymore. I'm not even planning for my children. Forget about this idea where everybody say, "Oh, if I cannot." I want to enjoy, even if it's for 1 year in this country. I want to enjoy electricity before I die. I want to be able to travel from Lagos to Benin without thinking that kidnapper will kill me or that we die in a road accident. If it happens, it's understandable. Accidents happen, but it will not be that we will have to pray every 1 kilometer that we will not meet our death. I want to live in a country where I can go to the hospital here, and be cured of whatever illness afflicts me, or at least for it to be managed. And I don't have to fly abroad. I don't want to, at my age, go back and be helping somebody's mom and dad to clean their bonbon anymore. That is not dignity. It's not dignifying. And we can make it happen. The opportunities can be created here. We can turn this country into an AI hub. So that everybody who needs somebody to hire for AI will go to Nigeria first. But you can't do that without electricity. When your national grid is collapsing on, more frequently than whatever collapses, you can't do that. So, and in saying all these things, again, I'm instilling in you the confidence we need. But most importantly, we need unity. We need complete unity of the oppressed. Most of you are already aware of the problems. What we are doing every day on TikTok, like somebody said, is what sometimes is referred to as analysis paralysis. We analyze to the point that we are paralyzed and we come back the next day, and some of this has become therapy for us because we can't do anything about it. Let me tell you, and I will stop there, is that TikTok is also important because somehow we are getting alternative education and awareness and conscientization here. It is very important that we don't stop talking. And sometimes, even the people we are up against, they get scared or they get prepared based on how many people are talking on TikTok. This conversation we are having now, as little as it is, the DSS headquarters is already listening.
Yes, I know.
The police headquarters is already. Tinubu might have been told that
I'm even getting text from my phone. I'm getting messages.
You see, she wears on TikTok, and it's a harmless conversation. But it's going to be harmful to us if we don't do something about it. So that would be where I will submit respectfully to the House today. And thank you once again so much for having me. I want to do more of this. I want to do more of TikTok. I want to do more of social media. It doesn't make a social media president. We are just a generation that have found alternative ways of having conversation. Because as you know, the mainstream media will not. If I go to any interview now, before I say anything, Mr. Sowore, please, and don't say that. Hey, can you defend yourself or not? But here, I don't have to deal with that. And the good news is that these platforms have more reach than the old media.
Exactly.
So these old media platforms are going to die a natural death very soon, as long as they don't hack into the voice of a generation that is against oppression. Thank you very much.
I think you've been able to convince me, telling me, been able to convince me. And sir, before I let you go, I please